Hi, welcome back to Carmando's. Today we've got a 2019 Renault Traffic in. We are going to replace the near side front wheel bearing today. I'll just bring the camera a bit closer and then you can hear. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this on my mic. You can hear the wheel bearing grinding. Also we've got loads of play in the front wheel. First thing, wheel trim off, get the wheel off. First you need a 19mm on your impact gun. So, yeah. So, first thing we're going to need to do is take the brake caliper and the carrier off all together. Spin this out. So, you can see behind here, we've got 2 bolts. There, we're going to take the caliper and the carrier off all together. So we're just going to push the piston back a bit. Just makes it easier for getting the caliper off. We're going to get some tie wraps ready to tie wrap the caliper up. Caliper carrier bolts, 18mm on 1/2 inch on your good. Tight. A minute. now we've got the caliper out of the way. Come round this side. I'm going to take the track rod end off. It's 16mm 1/2 inch. You're going to get your hammer, you're just going to hit it here, and the track rod end should just pop out. So we're going to get our brake disc off now. These can be quite difficult to get off at times. You have to hit them. We're going to come back with our lever hammer. Oh, we've already knocked it with the other hammer. Got it off. So next what we need to do is get the ABS sensor off. ABS sensors held in with a T30. Our T30. Let's give it a little knock in. That little spray with WD-40. While we're here, we're also going to spray up the wheel bearing bolts. And some around the wheel bearing housing itself. Get our set of grips. You want to do with these is grab hold of it and just give it a little wiggle, and pliers ain't doing it. As you can see, we're struggling here with the ABS sensor. It's going to snap this one, so just ordered one now, but we know it's going to snap as soon as we take it out. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut the wire and then put a new one in when we've got the hub on the bench doing the bearing. Next, we're going to undo our centre bolt, 32mm. Next, we're going to undo our top hub bolts to the shock absorber. Need a 21mm spanner and socket for that. do is get your gun on the other side. Turn. And they should come out easier then. We're just going to give our drive shaft a little tap. Now should be able to get the drive shaft out of the way. Get it over this side out of the way. Now you can see we've got access to the bottom ball joint bolt. We're going to take the bottom ball joint off, take the hub over to the bench to do the bearing. This is the ABS sensor lead. Unplug this. Take that bit out in a bit, but there's a broken ABS sensor lead anyway. We'll be replacing that. So for these ones you need a 19mm socket and a spanner as well. Now we've undone the bottom ball joint, we can just lift the hub out, and as you can see there, we've got the 4 bolts that hold in the wheel bearing. Some people won't take the whole hub off, but we find it easier to, and then put it in the bench. So I'll get you over to the bench and show you how we remove it. Now we've got our hub in the bench, in the vise, sorry. We've got 4 bolts here. You need a E18 little short extension. Get these out. Now we can knock the wheel bearing out. I like to use the 2 hammer method. 1 hammer on, other hammer, and just knock it out. That's our wheel bearing out. We need to keep our little heat shield. It just protects the bottom ball joint. you don't get a new one of them. As you can see, this bearing is quite bad. The magnetic strip's completely gone. That's why the ABS light was on as well. In the back of the hub here, this is actually part of the wheel bearing. It always sticks in the hub. So just spin the hub over, give that a little knockout. As you can see there, this is the magnetic strip, the back part of the bearing, and that's what's failed. So now while we're here, we need to get out this ABS sensor, hoping it will just tap out. It's not playing ball, so we need to get a punch. These can be quite awkward. Sometimes you just got to put a bit of WD in it and leave it for 10 minutes and then come back to it. Started to move a bit. What we'll do is get some WD-40 on there, leave it for a little bit and then come back to it. Generous helping of WD in there. We're still waiting on the new wheel bearing anyway, so we'll leave that to soak in for a bit and then come back once we've got the wheel bearing. So we got our ABS sensor out. We did that off camera. We ended up having to drill it out because it wouldn't move. I'm just going to do a bit of prep while we're waiting for the wheel bearing now. So as you can see in this side here, it's quite rusty, build up of brake dust and wheel bearing remains and that. So we're just going to give this a little wire wheel while we're waiting. Just going to use a bit of copper grease, just make the new one go in easier, and then it's easier for the next person that's taking that one out next time it needs doing to get it out. Also going to put a bit of copper grease in where the ABS sensor goes. That's it, we're just waiting for the ABS sensor now and wheel bearing. So we've got our new wheel bearing now. Need to make sure when you put this wheel bearing in that you take into account there's a slot for the ABS sensor. So just make sure that you line it up right. Also got our dust cover to go on. What you want to do is just line it up, get your bolts, put them in finger tight to start with. You don't get any new bolts with these, so you have to reuse the old ones. Get your gun, just do a bit on each one to start with as you bring the wheel bearing up to keep it up square. It's our new wheel bearing in. Take you back over to the van and get this back on. So now we're just going to do the reverse of what we did when we stripped it down to rebuild it. We are going to put a bit of copper grease on our drive shaft. And put your bolts back in for your bottom ball joint. Once you get your bottom ball joint back on, replace the drive shaft now. 21mm deep socket, again 21mm spinner. Now we're at this point, we're going to replace the ABS sensor and cable while we're here now. Right, so we took the ABS sensor back out because it was a bit tight. We're just going to use a little Dremel sanding attachment and just give it a little remount. Our new sensor should just slide in now. It's easy as that now. There's just full of rust where the old one was stuck in. These don't have to be mega tight. Just don't go mad if you're using an impact gun. This one's only a 3/8, but it still packs a punch. That's the ABS sensor all connected up. I'm going to put the brake disc back on next. Bit of copper slip again in the retaining bolts for the brake disc and around the face so the disc comes off easier for the next person. These were a T40. While we're on this side, we're going to put our track rod end back in. Our nut's still in the socket. If when you're putting the track rod end in, if you find that it's spinning, sometimes in the end of the track rod end like this one has a Torx piece, but sometimes they round off quite easy. So if you're doing this on the floor at home, you can put a second jack under to put pressure on this while you tighten the nut. Or if you're on a ramp like we are, we'll just get a pry bar under into the wishbone, and you can put pressure on it while you tighten it up. So next we're going to get our brake caliper back on, got our retaining bolts. This should just slide on because we've pushed the piston back before, making sure that our brake pipe's nice and straight, no twists in it. Always remember, start your bolts by hand first. Once we've got all that back together, I'm going to replace our drive shaft nut. Sometimes you get a new one with the wheel bearings. These wheel bearings you don't, so we'll reuse our old one. Now it's time to replace the wheel. Just have one last little scan over. As you can see there, we've left the brake pipe out, so just put that back into its home, make sure everything else is where it's meant to be, and then go ahead and replace our wheel. Go ahead, give them a little nip with our gun, then when it's down, we'll torque them up. That's the job done.